Just want to double check to make sure the sound works, and then we'll be good. Okay, we are on. So Mark, if you want to start.
Yeah, yes, please. Go ahead and call the roll.
Okay. Mr. Jewell?
Here.
Mr. Pahovich?
Here.
Mr. McNulty?
Here.
Ms. Alt?
Here.
And Mr. Doherty? I'm not sure where Mr. Doherty is, but I did send him a message to notify him that we started the meeting.
Okay. So can I have a motion to come back from recess for ZON-19-07 Nova Lands LLC?
So
So
moved.
moved.
I got
Second.
Okay, so motion to come back from recess for application number ZON-19-07 by Mr. McNulty, second by Ms. Alt. Those voting, Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Pahovich,
Yes.
Mr. McNulty,
Yes.
Ms. Alt.
Yes.
Okay. So we have the final submission from the applicant, and Mr. McCarthy has circulated some draft motions, and the attachment A to go with the motion and an attachment B with the final stipulations. I don't know if the applicant has any comments on the new submission before we go through and confirm all these final stipulations.
It's up to the commission how they'd like me to approach this. I've gone through on my notes all 13 of the stipulations. Some of them are involving nothing more than a comma or changing a word here or there, and for the most part, we have no disagreement with any of these. The only item of any question is item number 7, the last phrase, and to be replaced as soon thereafter as practical or practicable. The trees that were removed along the east line were dead spruces, dead white oak, or I'm sorry, dead white ashes, and then some American elms, which are elms, silver maples, and cottonwoods were all that was removed. So replacing those is not something we're interested in. We've agreed to put the fence up there. That phrase of replacement's the only question we have. Other than that, the corrections of commas and replacing a word here and there, we're fine with.
So are there still trees along that line?
Yes, there's 40-foot spruces along there. There are other trees that were kept, but the lion's share of them was a swampy area that had ash elm, silver maple, and cottonwoods in them.
Okay. I'm okay removing the phrase "and be replaced as soon thereafter as practicable."
I agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's 3.
Okay. So it would,
Other
I
than
don't know if
that,
that,
I think the only other
Tony,
Point.
if I could on that point.
yeah,
Yeah. That was a carryover from 11E last time, and honestly, I didn't know what to put in there. I take your point that that stuff was already coming out. So for what it's worth, that's in there because it was on the prior list.
Okay.
So it is now, I would just say delete 7, period. The language as to dead, dying, and undesirable trees shall be removed along these property lines already in the text, correct?
Yes.
So really, all 7 was doing was adding the words. Is the commission okay with that, or do you want to just leave it with that crossed out?
No, that's fine.
All good.
Yeah, it's already there.
The only other points of discussion that we had, and we'll do what you asked, but on item number 9, the exterior materials for permanent structures, I copied that directly from the approved Evans Farm zoning text. So I'll add what you want, but that was, I just copied it because I thought it was already approved. Then item number 10, in discussions with Michelle, she just thought adding in there the phrase as far as earth tones would be acceptable, so that's what we did. Munsell color charts, I'm not interested in breaking copyright laws and
Sure.
making other copies of that. They're about 100, Munsell color charts are $150 a piece, and I just have never gone out and bought one since I was a sophomore at Ohio State, and that was a long time ago. I think Munsell was a child back then.
Well, Tony, if I could, just to address those, as far as the materials number 9, you are correct. I mean, I noted that a lot of that language seemed to come from the Evans. Evans that was probably a gimme. That was my perception by virtue of the nature of the application. I would leave it to the commission, but the question gets to be what exactly in the way of a synthetic material can't be used there? And is Ms. Bonnie going to have the ability to determine what was in place on May 5th of 2020? So I guess that'd be the concern on that one, just to have some form of a little more enforceable language. As far as the Munsell, I'm not personally don't care about that. I would say we have used other color charts in the past, some of them from manufacturers or other ascertainable standards, which I believe was actually done in Evans.
Yep.
Although you weren't going for earth tones there.
We could come in with commercial level color chart and do that. That'd be fine.
If that would work for you, and that way there
Yeah.
won't be any question about it. I heard you on the Munsells last time. I thought, well, we've used it, and I understand your point, and that's fine. But yeah, if you could bring in some other color charts,
Yep, I can do that.
or like I
Thank-
or some other objective standard like Sherwin-Williams number. I forget. You had quite a range for Evans Farms. I remember that.
I think that was 0000 to 7200 or something like that. But yeah, we got
It
it.
wasn't quite.
I'll do that. I'll address that.
That's the materials. Do you think you can do anything there?
You want me to limit, how about if we just limit those synthetic sightings to those items there instead of just including those? Shall we limit
That
stone?
I would leave it to the commission, but yeah, it was that without limitation that got my attention.
Yeah.
The rest
How
of
about
it they
if we
can
just
determine.
limit it to those?
Yeah, I'd leave that to the commission if that comes out.
It's fine.
I'll modify that and
Okay.
All right.
Title exterior materials. I'll have to find the page in that, but yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
No, that's, other than those three items, and none of the three of those was terribly difficult. I don't think we have any other points of discussion on this. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
It looks like
One
Andy
thing that
Wecker is on. Oh, sorry.
Hi,
I'm
Michelle.
sorry, Michelle. I'm sorry.
I was just letting you know Andy Wecker is on this now. So
Hi, Andy.
Hello. Thank you for your patience. I had a connectivity issue.
I hear you. One issue, Tony, that came up, and I saw Andy's email this afternoon about it. Lieutenant Clark did send an email. I sent him the electronic versions last night. I had one I kind of marked up, and the other was for Michelle. Right now, he's saying there's still a question as to the north building. I would point out to the commission there is language in there, though, saying that the north and the south accesses would conform to fire department standards. So that's kind of the situation you're facing.
Right.
Tony, one question on item 13. Andy and I talked about this a little earlier. That concerns the North Drive on 23. In addressing that, I remembered our conversation, and it did seem that we got to the point that everyone kind of seemed to agree that if we just deleted that reference, that would remove it from consideration, and if that was to be brought forward, it would remove it from the zoning plan, and if it was going to be brought into the zoning plan, that they'd have to come back, and that at the same time we would maintain the ability of the applicant to enjoy the benefit of having acquired a drive in that location. So that was all okay with you too?
Yeah, this